So, we in that new year, new me season.
Yes.
But a lot of us still have some of the same goals from 2023. And a lot of y'all, and I know for sure because y'all came up to me and asked,
You
a
did.
lot of y'all wanted to start a podcast.
Yes.
I got good news for you, player. Spotify for podcasts is here for every need you have.
We've been using Spotify for podcasters since we started our podcast. It's so easy. You literally record, edit, and upload all from your phone, your computer. So no matter what your setup looks like, you can start now.
Yes, get your conversations, your opinion, your views out to the world. People need to hear you.
You can distribute your podcast to Spotify and anywhere else that podcasts are heard.
With Spotify for podcasters, you can earn money in a multitude of ways. Ads or podcast subscriptions. I mean, it's an easy way to get your visions out to the world and earn some extra pocket change.
Yeah, my favorite thing about all of this is free 99.
Yes. They don't charge you a dime. So you really got nothing holding you back. Today, not tomorrow, today. Let's be heard. Spotify for podcasters.
Let's be seen. Welcome back to another episode of the For the Healthy Host podcast,
where we talk about conscious living, self-awareness, and everything else in between.
I'm your host, Ree.
So I said, Tim, why did you look like that?
Thank you so much for joining us and allowing us to be a part of your journey. Because you said everything else in between.
Yeah, I did add extra
everything
word
in between. But you know what? I love your little personal spin on it.
I don't call it so personal. It's just one word added in.
It was personal.
So how you doing today?
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay. I'm doing okay. Feeling a little better. I did some yoga this morning, a little 10-minute yoga session. We haven't really been working out a whole lot, and it's like a big part of our morning routine. And so kind of had me like thrown off mentally, but getting back into it, a little 10-minute yoga session was the first step, and feeling a little bit better. How are you today?
I'm good. I ain't as hydrated as I normally am. I ain't been drinking as much water as I had. And I slept okay, but it wasn't great though.
Yeah.
We had some guests coming to our room.
We did have some uninvited guests.
Yes, but other than that, like you said, ready to get this fitness journey back on track. Other than that, everything else been good. I can't no complaints over here.
That's good. I love to hear that.
And how y'all been?
How y'all been?
Let me know from the cubicle what y'all been on.
Why do you always say cubicle?
I mean, it's just, I don't know, just like a work thing, like from the cubicle.
I don't think people are listening while they're at work.
I definitely listen to shit at work. I definitely know the last thing I was going to do at work was actually fucking work. So I was going to listen to something.
I imagine people are at the gym and, it's like.
That too. But when I used to listen to podcasts, like, I used to be at work because I had nothing else to do. It wasn't like I had something to do while I was there.
I guess wherever you are, let us know.
Yeah.
How you been doing?
So today we rapping about our relationships with failure.
Yes.
And how you must get to know, I don't want to say, you got to get to know failure if you want to be successful at anything.
Definitely.
Because you have to try. So you have to get more comfortable with the idea that it might go wrong.
Not even go wrong, but I guess wrong. I guess our expectations will be different than what the outcome will be. Like, I just don't, the word wrong, it kind of gives me some anxiety. Like, oh, that went wrong. Oh, that's not right. That's wrong. But I don't think anything is wrong. I think everything is connected. And I think that our expectations just didn't meet reality.
You real Buddha Zen right now.
No, I'm not Zen. That's just really how I feel about failure, right? Like, at this point in my life. Like, failure used to give me a lot of anxiety.
I get that. It definitely gave me tons of it that I did not want. So I definitely understand where that comes from.
Yeah.
So you want to kick us off? Let us know how your journey with failure has been so far in life.
Yes, I can do that for you. So when you first hit me with this question, I didn't know how to answer it. It took me days to really figure out, I don't know. Nobody has ever asked me, what does your relationship with failure look like? You know what I'm saying? And it gave me anxiety because I couldn't really figure it out. But after a few days of pondering on it, I came to the realization that for me personally, I had to really look at my relationship with success in order to determine my relationship with failure. Because the two, they go hand in hand. Of course, they're on the opposite
ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. But they kind of go hand in hand. And for me, my self-worth is really tied into success. So that means my self-worth is ultimately tied into my failure. And when I think about failure, like, I know oftentimes we think about like the big stuff, like, oh, your job or your relationship or just something that's like big, I guess, quote unquote big. I'm doing air quotes, big. Yeah. But also, like we just spoke about, small things to me can be failure. Like, you know, me personally haven't been going to the gym and doing my morning routine. You know that I've been going through a lot of stuff with my mother here lately, and it's kind of like thrown off my entire routine. And I look at that as failure. And unfortunately, it affects the way that I feel about myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's something that I still deal with. Like small stuff like, do you remember at one point I can't remember what I was going through, but it was like family stuff from back home as well. And I wanted to work out that day and I didn't work out, and like I cried. I was like, I didn't even work out. Like do you remember that was like a couple years ago?
I can't remember that specific day. Unfortunately. Well, I guess fortunately you are a big crier, so sometimes
I do cry a lot.
I can get the moments.
One thing about
blurred. You gonna cry.
One thing about me, I'm gonna cry.
You gonna cry it out. I'm gonna cry for sure. You got no problem with letting them tears fall. So, excuse me that I don't remember that one time.
Oh my
I apologize about that.
It's okay. But yes, my point being is my relationship with failure is definitely tied to my self-worth and how I feel about myself. And that sucks because it can really manifest in a way that affects the people around you. So, I mean, that's something that I'm still working on. And like I told you this morning, like we literally was having a shower chat. I was in the shower and I was like, I don't like this version of myself right now. I don't like who I am right now, but I love me and I accept me. And I think that's the most important part of it all. And that, I think, kind of balances out how I feel about myself, like the worthiness of myself. And just on a more positive note, like I understand that my success, my quote unquote failure, is not tied to my worth as a human being. I'm more than the physical work that I put out into this world. I'm more than whether I go to the gym or not. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I am now with that. But on a bigger scale, when I think about failure, as far as like my dreams and my goals and my passions, it used to be something that I really feared.
Yeah.
Like I said before, like it still kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety, just the thought of something not working out the way I wanted to work out. I fear that. I have feared that in the past because it makes me feel like I don't have control.
We only got so much.
Right, exactly, which I'm going to get into that. Like, it makes me feel like I don't have control, but I've learned that I don't need to have control.
Not over everything, no.
I don't need to have control. I need to flow. Flowing is the most important thing because I believe that everything in nature flows. Everything, like literally, nature is an ecosystem, and I feel like what's in the cards for me is in the cards for me. And as long as I just continue to flow and not try to force, that's the word I was looking for, force. Yes, not try to force. Because control to me is connected to force. Like, I know there's certain things we
I
do
get
have
that
control over. We
100%.
have control over if we wake up, go to gym, decisions that we make and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like, some things are out of our control, right?
Absolutely.
And when we have the burning desire to control particular things, that's force.
Yeah.
And the universe don't work like that. Literally, when you're trying to force things and you're just so pressed to, like we've talked about before, outcomes and things working out the exact way that you want to work out, most of the time they won't.
No.
You scaring the universe away. Like that, it just don't work like that. So one of my biggest lessons is to just flow. Just flow and continue to have faith. And if I'm doing the work and I'm putting the work in, and not in an analytical standpoint, but in a repetition standpoint, if I'm doing those things that I'm supposed to do, everything will work out for me. What's for me is for me. What's in the cards for me is in the cards for me. And I have no doubt about that. And yeah, like,
big smile when you said that.
Because
like
I'm just thinking about like,
I like that in you.
Thank you. You like that in me?
I like that in you.
I'm just thinking about faith. Like, bro, it's faith over fear. Like, literally. Like, if your faith is strong enough, fear ain't shit to you.
Nothing.
At all. And one last thing I want to mention is my big dog, Oprah.
I think nobody ever referred to Oprah as their big dog.
My big dog, the homie.
My big dog, the homie.
The homie. My chin always hit this damn mic. But no, I don't listen to the podcast as much, but I used to, like, back in the day when I really, really first started my journey, the Super Soul Conversations podcast. And when she talks about fear, or not fear, when she talks about failure, like, it really put things into a new perspective for me. And she basically just says that she does not believe in failure. She sees failure as a new opportunity for growth. So I took in that perspective, and it really has helped me a lot, because it's like, if something doesn't go the way that I expected it to go in my life, it's like, okay, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
How can I get better from this? Because the truth is, if you're not failing, quote unquote, failing in life, where's the room for growth?
It's very hard to learn from winning. You know,
For sure.
Most learning comes from where you fail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, if you're not failing, you're not growing. If you just consistently winning, every time you throw something at the wall, it hits perfectly.
No lesson in
There's
that.
no lesson in it. It's pretty much over with.
Yeah, you did everything, quote unquote, right.
Yeah. That's what's so hard about winning. Like, winning, to repeat winning, you have to repeat the repetitions that you did to get there. You know what I mean? And that's just having discipline. But when you fail, like, there has to be something brought out of it, learned, and new things have to be developed. That's why failure can teach you so much more than winning actually ever will.
Definitely. But yeah, those are my sentiments. My experience with failure is still something that I'm working on, but I think I have a pretty good relationship with failure at this point in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say if you do, but yeah, I definitely feel that from you.
And just to go, like, I'm a diehard, so, I won't.
Yeah.
I have to have that balance with, flowing. So anyway, that's besides the point. I'm not gonna ramble today.
We always ramble. We gonna ramble.
I mean, that what a podcast for?
Yeah.
What are they for?
We gonna ramble.
So can you tell me what your relationship with failure looks like, Mr. Sunset Tim?
Well, warning too. There will be sports references. There will be. Yes, I'm a guy. Eat that shit.
Oh my God.
So yes, but my relationship with failure, like, I think with you are kind of the same way. Like, it starts when I was young.
Oh, for sure.
Losing, like, the small failures, losing at anything got under my skin as a kid. Like,
Yeah.
losing, like, on Smash Bros. Or like Mario, like, then what was it? Mario Kart, like, on 64.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
You ain't had Mario Kart 64?
I had a Super Mario's, but I used to play baseball. And when I was struck out, I used to cry.
You played softball. Yeah.
I used to cry.
As a kid, failure in competition, just that thing. Like, I hated losing. Losing was never something I dealt with well as a young kid. I was definitely the kid that cried if they lost.
Me
like,
too.
I was emotional if I lost. Strictly because failing, at that time, I didn't know how to, like, necessarily learn something from failing.
Right.
I didn't necessarily know how to craft it into something new and come back and get better. and I didn't have anybody really teaching me how to find the lesson in all my L's.
Facts.
So it just kind of manifests into like anger or jealousy or anything of that nature whenever I did lose. So I was always very passionate as a kid about failure. Once I got a little older into my teens is when I started to figure out, like, when I did fail, like, I could do something about this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
then
not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. By then, I'm coming to my teens. I'm starting to learn that life is more chess than it is checkers, and you actually got moves out here that you can actually make. And when I do fail, there's an opportunity for something to come about.
Yeah.
So, fast forwarding into like my young adulthood. Of course, I'm an artist. I officially started like releasing music and like officially like a career in 2017. Is when I dropped my first tape. And of course, like everybody, you want your work, your creation to be, I guess the first word that kind of mind is popular. Like you want it to pop.
Popular, yeah.
You want it to spread. And of course, like my first one did not. Like it didn't really spread. I'm still on the come up now. And me and failure have like literally shaped my sound. So I don't know where I would be if I had ran from failure or did not accept certain things or just kept that same childish mentality about failure, where I see a lot of people who are content creators or business owners or whatever it might be, I can tell they've never addressed their relationship with failure because they still go about it in a childish way.
They run. They quit.
It may not just be running or quitting, but they do that. But other things like jealousy and sadness are still there when they fail.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of artist friends, and sometimes when they drop a project and it doesn't do the quote unquote numbers that they wanted, they blame it on things like they don't listen to real music no more, or radio don't play this, or these kind of things come about when you don't address your relationship with failure. You still have that almost childish like mentality about things not going your way.
Yeah, and I get that too. When I think about jealousy and what was the other word? Jealousy,
sadness, anger.
Jealousy and sadness and anger. I mean, to be fair, we are human beings, so we're going to come across those emotions.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with those emotions.
Absolutely.
How you allow them to fuel you. How you allow them to affect your next move. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes,
we do all feel those, for sure. I felt it, still feel it to this day. But like you said, how you handle it publicly, dissing and going on and things of that
you
nature.
out of line.
You out of line real quick, bro.
Yeah.
Like you need to step back.
Don't make no rash moves. Like,
Because
when you mad or when you jealous or when you say, don't make no rash moves, bro, because you're gonna do some shit you end up regretting.
Some shit that it's just not real player like.
It's not at
all. It's not player like at all to, have those emotions play out publicly.
Yeah, pipe down.
Pipe down a little bit,
down.
Bro. Like I guess I have so many like I said, creative friends, like business owners, like I said, if something goes wrong, they automatically turn to dissing the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or dissing how the game is going or how things are done now as their first go-to, because they don't want to really address their relationship with failure. Like, they don't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah. Up until you asked me, though, I had never addressed my relationship with failure. I'm glad we're talking about this today. It's not.
I think about it more often because, like, my dream hasn't happened yet. So I had to find this. I ain't gonna say it hasn't happened yet.
I was gonna ask you that.
I
was gonna like, can you
elaborate? It has not yielded the results that I have imagined for it. But my dream has happened.
It's happening.
I am living in it. I am it. I am a full-time artist. I am happening. It is now. But
you him.
I am Hemi Neutron.
You know
what I mean? But it has not yielded some of the things I wanted. You know what I mean? So, in a sense, to myself, I am losing.
But you're only losing if you're not doing it. If you're not doing it at all.
Well, for me, the word losing, I know people have a weird relationship. They hear the word losing, loss, or loser. Loser is more of a self-imposed thing you're trying to do yourself. Because losing is just a temporary thing.
Okay.
Warning, here comes the sports analogy. Cover your ears, ladies. Sorry. Here it comes. Like, if you're in a game like basketball, fourth quarter, you're down 10. With 10 minutes left, you're just losing. There's time to come back. Once the game is over with and you guys were now down 20 and y'all lost by 20, then you have lost. When we put that back into life perspective, like, I'm going to always keep going. I'm going to always get to where I want to be, because at the end of the day, if I got life, I still got an opportunity.
Exactly.
You know, so my relationship with failure, like I said, has blossomed me into the, I finna say, beautiful artist that I am.
Why you can't say that though?
I don't know. It felt weird saying
say
it.
Say that shit. Say it.
I want to hear you say it first.
You're a beautiful artist. Like, well, see, I wanted to say how you was gonna
like,
say.
It's hard for me to give myself that kind of grace. Like, I'm a beautiful artist.
Listen, you are a beautiful. Why do I feel like I'm finna cry? But you literally are a beautiful, talented artist, creative.
But it's so hard. It's another subject, but it's so hard to give yourself that kind of grace.
Go ahead and say it.
I'm a beautiful artist.
Say it one more time.
I am a beautiful artist.
One more time for the people in the back.
All right, now.
One more time. Just one more time. Just one more time.
I'm a beautiful artist.
Okay.
But yes, like, because I addressed my relationship with failure, because I got comfortable with it, I was able to learn. From my first album I dropped, which was Step Outside in 2017, to my latest one I just dropped, Slow Life Shawty. If you ain't heard it, you sleeping.
If you ain't heard it, you
sleeping.
Hella
sleeping. But since then and since now, like, the evolution of me has been just so, that's the beautiful part of it, the evolution. From that tape to this tape, it is crazy how good I've gotten at this shit.
And I think too, because you are continuing to evolve as a person, and then you're looking at your failure or mistakes as opportunities for growth. I think that's why you've been able to blossom into a beautiful artist.
Yes.
Because you are, what's the fine-tuning? I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Fine-tuning that relationship with failure.
There was one time I did drop a tape and it was a failure.
Why do you think it was a failure? And which one?
It's not on digital, like, streaming anymore. The only place it is on is SoundCloud. When I forget what tape I dropped. It made me Step Outside, and I started to see my numbers go up, and I panicked, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta get the tape out like ASAP, ASAP, bro! I gotta get it out like right now." You know what I mean? And I rushed the tape, and I put it out. That was the one time I failed. But it wasn't the sound that failed. It was because I rushed my process. That's what made me fail. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily the sound or the project itself. I failed to be calm. I failed to sit back, enjoy the moment. I failed to go through the process of an artist, and that caused me to take that L. Yeah. But I learned from it right then and there. Like, okay, we can't do that. No matter what goes on, good or bad with the numbers. They need to get booted from the process, and that was after I dropped Step Outside. I think what's next is Beautiful Out Here, and that was what I learned in between them two tapes, was to take the numbers away from everything, and really start to reassess what I call a success and what I call a failure.
Definitely, and I've learned too as a creative, like whether it be on YouTube, Instagram, our podcast. If I feel happy and proud with the outcome, or not the outcome, that particular project, that art, if it makes me smile, makes my heart feel good, that's all that matters. Because when it comes to numbers, the numbers, they're gonna be up and down regardless.
Yeah,
like
automatically.
One post may get 1,000 likes, the other post may get 500. I don't know. You know what I mean? It happens, and you really can't be so fixated on the numbers, because now you in it for applause. Yeah. You really have to, your art has to do something for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's what I've learned too as a creative.
Yeah, the applause of people is a stronger drug than anything they got out there.
Bro, it's an addiction.
It's something that catches everybody from now.
For sure.
So, like we were saying, to build that relationship with failure or become aware of it, you have to do just that. Acknowledge it actually happened.
Yeah.
We can't push it to the side and just ignore it. Like, hopefully, if I leave it under my bed, nobody will see it. Nobody will ask about it. If I archive that post, nobody will see it. If I delete that reel,
If I burn that hard drive,
burn that fucking hard drive. If I just, tuck it away, I don't think people will know I failed. But we have to address it.
Yeah.
And with addressing it, I mean, like, feel every emotion it gives you. Every emotion, like, each one gonna come about. You're gonna be sad about it, didn't do what you wanted it to do. There's gonna be anger that you put all this work in, all this time, all this energy spent.
Yeah.
They're gonna be self-regret, like doubting yourself, self-doubt, in a sense, like, can I really do this? Like, I failed. Is this really, do I really got what it takes? Every emotion should come out of you in that process. You know what I mean? And address all of them. Each one has something to tell you. Each one is lending you in the right direction of where to go.
Yeah, and I guess an outlet to do this would be journaling to me.
Yeah,
because I feel like a lot of us, we don't address our thoughts. Like, sometimes we don't. Even our last episode, I didn't address something that I had been feeling or realize something that I had been feeling that happened over 10 years ago. We just don't address it. And I think a way to, like, sit down and actually address it that you really can't run from is to, like, write it out. Because I think my mind literally runs all day long. So I can literally be thinking about, how my relationship with failure is for like 1 minute, but then the next minute I'm on to something else. I'm like, okay, what am I having for dinner? 1 minute is not enough time for you to, like, really think about something and address it out. I promise you, whenever I'm journaling, which I haven't been doing a whole lot of lately, but whenever I'm journaling, like, so many emotions come out, so many things that I didn't even realize that I was still, like, really messed up about and holding on to, they come out. So really just journaling out how you feel. It's one way, not the only, but one way to, like, really address that failure or those emotions tied to, said failure.
Absolutely. And then meditation is another one. If you want to practice meditation.
Yes.
Or however you usually, go about your thought process, you know what I mean? As long as it's in a healthy fashion.
For sure.
And you are, able to acknowledge what you truly are feeling and feel it all the way through. I think our soul can be like a sponge, like you said. We can soak things in. It can really sit in that sponge for as long as possible, as long as it needs to. Even when you pour something into a sponge, even if it dries out, when you wet it, it's still gonna be there. Yeah. Like, it's still, you still have to squeeze it out and, really get these emotions all the way through, because there is good emotions within failure too. Like, because there are things you can highlight when you do fail. Like, this may not have went well, but I'm extremely proud about how this part went.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm extremely proud about how efficient I was with this, or, you know what I mean? Or how consistent I was with this. Yeah. You just got to tweak it and find it. Like I said, so every emotion will be played out when you finally do address failure.
Yeah, whatever you do, just address it.
Just address it. Do not run from it.
Yeah.
And the next step, building that relationship is one that is a lifetime thing. It's not necessarily a one-off thing ever. Self-forgiveness. Forgiving self is a lifetime thing. It is not a one-time thing. I forgive you for this. You will be forgiving yourself every day of your life, because humans are not perfect. So we will be screwing up.
Yes.
We will be making mistakes for the rest of our life, which means we will be forgiving ourselves.
Yes.
Forever.
And I know we're talking about failure right now. I think that so many things that we experience aren't necessarily things that we did, if that makes sense.
So we were affected by.
No, we were affected. Yeah, so many things we were affected by weren't necessarily things that we did. We were the culprit of. So sometimes we have to forgive other people. You know what I'm saying? Not for them, but for us.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
We hold it on. The person who gets attacked usually holds on to that attack longer than the attacker would.
Yeah, for sure.
You took the worst of that beating, so it's usually you who holds on longer.
Definitely. So yeah, just forgiving yourself, forgiving others. Just forgive.
Yeah, open that heart up and let it bleed.
Yes.
Get a good cry out. You got any advice for a good cry?
That is a good question. There are times in my life, like literally the other day, I'm just like, I be feeling really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I be having a lot of anxiety, and I'm like, I just need to cry. I just need to cry. And I don't know. Like, sometimes you just gotta really sit with yourself to allow those tears to just flow. Like yesterday, whenever you went to get Aubrey, you know, we normally go together, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just let you go. I actually cried. Did you know that?
I did not know that. You get them out, boy. You get some in and out.
I sat there and I sat and I just cried. I'm just like, oh God. I don't necessarily have any advice to tell anybody how to cry, because if it's in you, like,
Well, you helped me out with it, because like up until about what year we in, 2023?
yeah.
I say about 2020 was when you like kind of like helped me with like crying.
What did I do?
You was just like, you need to maybe cry, like maybe you need to just let it out. Up until that, I was not a crying person. Like I grew up in that culture where like crying was not accepted. That's like some weak shit. It was like bitch shit when I grew up. You couldn't cry about shit. Like,
Yeah.
if I cried when I was hurt when I was a kid, immediately I was told to stop crying. Like, immediately shut it out. It's just not a culture which I grew up around. Crying was a way to like get your emotions out. That shit was not there. There's so many times in life I should have cried, and I had asked myself like, why the fuck can I not cry about this? You know what I mean? When we got our like marriage license, like I got teared up, but I just couldn't fully cry all the way.
I cried.
Yes, you did. You really good at it. And I
mean, thank you. I don't.
I know it's a compliment that you can get your emotions like that. But
you really gotta just be in tune, though. You have to be in tune
Yeah.
with. That's why it's important to just be alone and like just taking deep breaths, because once you start to take the deep breaths, and I was listening to a guided meditation by Didi on Audible, but literally Didi was saying that people always think the inhale, when you take the deep breath, the inhale is the most important part, but really the exhale is, because you're letting it all out. And when you start to let your breath out, you're also letting these emotions out. And sometimes tears just like, they just come. Like, you literally, I think it's about your breath and just being in tune with spirit, with yourself, and just letting it out.
Absolutely. So once I did get hit with crying, like it felt so good. I was so happy after I cried.
Yes.
And I was so shocked that I had that emotion after crying. I just really felt like, all right, you start crying, you a bitch ass nigga. You know what I mean? This is like really how you a bitch ass nigga. You gonna think for the rest of the day, I'm a soft ass nigga for crying. You know what I mean? But it was actually the exact opposite. I cried, and afterwards I was so happy that I got it out. I felt stronger than I ever like had. I had finally forgiven myself for things that wasn't even like of my own action, but just like affected me.
Yeah.
I definitely believe crying is a good thing. I can't tell you how often you need to cry, but you definitely like need to cry. Coming from somebody who it was years in between my
I can't believe I'm crying. I cry once a week for sure.
Yeah, you definitely cry once a week.
It's like, because you're releasing so much, and it allows me to stay sane, and it helps me let go of like the past, of emotions, of self-doubt, feelings of unworthiness. I'm about to cry now, but then for real, like it do it.
Cry, think about crying, baby.
Oh my God, I'm about to cry thinking about crying, because it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful feeling.
Because it's like forgiving yourself is what it ultimately is.
It's so good. One thing I want you guys to do, I want your homework today to be to go cry. I want your homework to be to go cry.
I ain't do homework at school, but I might do it today. So once you get that good cry session out the way, you know what I mean? You've dusted your shoulders off and you ready to get back into the game. Coming from that failure, the biggest thing you can do is try to find the lesson in the L. Mm-hmm. What can be applied from this? Because you're not starting over from the same point you was. You're starting from experience. You have experienced it one time, your ass. You've experienced it once already. You went through it once. You know what I mean? You fought this guy before. You know where he throws his punches. You know where he, you know what I mean, tries to land them. You can build a strategy now that you've experienced it one time, what it's really like. When I used to drop my albums, it was so many things I had to learn from each tape. Each time was a new layer of experience. when this did work or that didn't work. I just had to sit back and analyze what I did have and like really trying to find the lesson in this quote unquote failure. And like I said, each time I was introduced to something I could do better.
Definitely.
Every time I was introduced to something I could do better, something that could have been done more in depth, or something that I just didn't need.
Yeah.
That was oftentimes what we've done this before so many times as content creators. I know y'all probably have too. Bought equipment you didn't need.
Man.
Do that shit all the time.
All the time.
Boy, I done spent hundreds, thousands
on equipment. The best.
Yes, cameras, lenses, mics, and comes to find out, I just really needed the one I already had. I just had to get better with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I just needed to learn my lesson.
And it reminds me of, I don't know if it was a movie we watched or if I was actually in a meeting with someone. I think it may be a combination of both. And they were just talking about their particular product, and they're like, and this is our 84th try.
Yes,
like, you know what I'm saying?
84th.
This is our 84th try. This is our final one that we went with and that's on the market today. It's our 84th test. And that's because it really does take time to get the product, the result, the art, that you're wanting to produce. It takes time, and failure is a necessary part of it.
Yes.
And like you said, you have to be willing to accept that failure and look at the lessons, focus on the lessons that you learn. Like, okay, I could have did this better. And the truth is, in order to become the best version of yourself, to create an iconic product or a brand or a relatable community, it's going to take failure.
Absolutely.
It's going to take losing over and over and over again.
And being vulnerable. Everything.
Yeah, so focus on those lessons and what you can learn to create a better you, a better product, a better community, whatever it is, a better book, I don't know, better content. Focus on those lessons to get better.
And remember that numbers are there. They are our friend. Numbers are not against us. They yield some type of information. That's why they were created, to take into account things. But they are not you. Yes. You are not your numbers. You are bigger than that. You are way more than what is shown on a piece of paper. But those numbers are extremely useful for finding lessons. Like, you have to look at them, but don't become them.
Use them as a tool.
Do not obsess with them. You are not, like I said, you are not the number. You are not your follower count.
Man.
You are not your play count. You are not your sales. I just did the thing.
You did.
I did your thing. I did. I did your thing. But you are none of those things. You are you. Your soul is too expanded just to be a number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're too multidimensional. You're too powerful. You're too beautiful. You're too talented. You're too creative to be just a number.
Just a number on a page. You're too much for that. But they are useful. Don't let the numbers affect you, because once you do let the numbers affect you, you start to change the goal. Like, you know what I mean? You start to lower it. Yeah. You start to shrink your ambitions to fit the numbers.
And you start to change. You start to conform to start doing things that you think people want to see.
Oh, yeah.
You think people want to hear versus just being yourself. That's all anybody really wants you to be, honestly.
Yeah, the numbers will capture you and make you want to just please other people so you can get more numbers.
Yeah.
And even if that works for you, you look up and you got the numbers you want, but now you don't got the product you actually wanted.
Yeah, you're not happy.
Not happy because you just chose to please everybody and get a nice number on the board.
For sure.
So making sure we don't become prisoners of our numbers is important, because the numbers ultimately try to be a shield to block out the noise around you. You try to get big numbers so you can block out what you are saying to yourself or what you think people are saying about you. But you got to block out that noise if you actually want a healthy relationship with failure, because we will repeat these negative narratives in our mind until we ultimately believe they are us.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? We will repeat these things in ourselves until they could actually grow this little dark tree inside of us that just plants like these horrible seeds and conversations in our subconscious that randomly is thrown to us throughout our day if we're not careful.
Definitely. And when you say block out the noise, you mean Your own internal chatter or
Both.
people?
Like external chatter and then what's inside of you. You got to block out that little thing in your head telling you you're not good enough.
Yeah, it kind of go back to what we kind of touched on. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we don't have to give our thoughts so much meaning.
Nope.
Like it's not always that deep. We don't have to give it so much power. And you don't have to believe them.
Don't.
Like your thoughts are not always right. Like I know sometimes we think because my brain thought that shit, it
right.
gotta be right. But no, that's just is not true. Mm-hmm. Like our thoughts are literally just thoughts. We don't have to give them meaning. We don't have to give them power. And sometimes I be having two thoughts going back and forth. Like I know I sound like a crazy person, but like I literally be having like one thought be like, girl, you know you can't do that. You're not good enough. And another thought be like, girl, why would you even say that? Like it'd be like a whole.
Yeah, it's like a whole. Yeah. It's like the movie. It was Inside Out.
Yes, that's a good movie.
That's a great movie. We always watching kid movies.
We are.
They're the greatest shit of all time. I promise you.
They are.
Pixar.
Is it
has
Pixar?
Raised me. I think it's Pixar or somebody. They raised us. But yeah, blocking out all the eternal chatter is big, and I do have the same thing you have. Like one person will say this, and somebody else will defend me on the other side, and then there's me in the middle, kind of like, who am I gonna run with today?
Yeah, you don't have to give either one of those voices power. Honestly,
you don't. But listen to the one that's fighting for you.
Yeah, but
ultimately listen to the one that's fighting.
Ultimately, for you, yes, that. But also, you don't have to give it, because like it made me feel like I'm like going crazy.
No, I believe that everybody has so many layers of themselves that they all kind of speak.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what it is. It's all the layers of you speaking. And I feel like anxiety is all of them trying to speak at once at times.
Yeah, like conflicting. It's called cognitive dissonance.
Don't know what that means.
Cognitive dissonance is basically two conflicting thoughts. Like
okay, yeah, a real fancy word to say.
I learned that in college.
I be arguing with myself. You learned that in college?
I learned that in communication theory, which is one of my favorite. Whenever this is like so totally random, but I'm gonna say it. Whenever I was in communication theory, I thought I was gonna hate it, but it was literally a life-changing class. So I had a really great teacher, Dr. Harper. Shout out to Dr. Harper.
Yeah.
But communication theory, cognitive dissonance is when you have two conflicting thoughts. And
I want everybody to like, I used to be a person that let my problems run circles around me.
Okay.
And I started to clear the chatter in my mind when I started the exact opposite. I used to now I'm running circles around my problems. The big difference is when your problem runs circles around you versus you running circles around your problem. When I walk around my problem, I can see it at every angle. I can find my way in. I can find a way to defeat my problem if I see it from every angle. The other way, if I'm just looking at my problem, circles around me, I'm gonna fucking get dizzy and I'll probably pass out. My problems probably fucking win the fight.
I love that you said look at it from a different angle.
Yeah, if you circle your problems, you will find the angle. You'll find the lesson in the failure.
Yes.
If you circle your problems, don't let them circle you though.
For sure.
Like that, huh?
Love that, actually. One thing that's really important is to not let your failure define you. Like, you are not your failure. You're not your mistakes. Don't let that shit define you. You're, like we said before, you're more than that. Yes.
Your story is so many more chapters than just that one where you failed.
Exactly. Like, your failure is just a part of your success story.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what really makes a good story, ain't it? Every movie we ever watch, it's not like the guy just like magically is like that dude when he wakes up, you know what I mean? And Creed got his ass whooped a couple different times.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We just went and seen Creed 3. It was very good, guys.
Amazing. Yeah, so shout out to Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors. That's his name, right?
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, shout out to them.
For sure.
But yes, like, you're gonna get beat up along this journey. It's not gonna be perfect. There will be failures, but that kind of makes the story so amazing.
Interesting, so juicy.
Yes, that's what gets it. To even get to the success, you have to bounce back. You got to get back on the horse. You have to get back going. So
bouncing back can seem impossible, like in the midst of it all, but it's doable.
Absolutely. So if you're looking to bounce back, every time I'm looking to bounce back, the first thing I do is like get my skills back up. Like get back into the gym, get back into doing your reps. Get back to writing, get back to painting, get back to creating, whatever it is, just get back into the consistency of it. It ain't gotta be perfect getting back into it, but get back into it so you can get that rhythm going again.
Yeah, something I like to do is talk nice to myself. I say this all the time, but literally the words that we like, I verbally say nice things to myself. I have a affirmation that I wrote down, I guess it was like 2 weeks ago, because I was just feeling so down. And it is, I'm a beautiful being inside and out. I attract nothing but love, beauty, and abundance into my life because it's what I give out. But yeah, like, you just got to remind yourself who the fuck you are. Like, you're that girl. You're that guy. Like, you do this. You've been doing this shit. Like, sometimes, like, affirmations look like, I am beauty. I am light. I am love. And sometimes they look like, I'm a badass bitch. I've been doing this shit. I do this shit. Ain't nobody gonna do this shit better than me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I actually prefer them a lot more.
Yeah, you gotta, like sometimes you just gotta talk your shit. Like, that's
absolutely.
That's a big way that I like bounce back. Like, just hyping myself up, bro.
Yes, and like I said, giving yourself praise for what did go right.
Exactly.
It's real easy to look at what went wrong, but it's just as easy to look at what went right for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Highlight that shit. Feel good about it. Give yourself praise for, like, this may not went that way, but boy, I murdered that shit.
I did.
When I dropped this, though.
Yes.
When I did that shit went hard. I need to find a way to do that, do it better, and do that more consistently.
Yes.
And shit, you gonna feel a lot better. Now you skills getting back up, you hype, but calm the fuck down. Calm down. I know you ready to go back right into it. Calm down, because we need a fucking plan.
Oh my gosh, I love a plan. I love a plan. My daughter told me, y'all, I'm a plansy girl. Plansy girl. I literally like to, like, plan my shit out in my planner, like, and write it all down. But literally, I don't know. I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. Whenever I first started, like, YouTube and stuff, I literally had my whole calendar, my month, my videos planned out. I don't know. And now I kind of don't really do it like that, but
it's almost like an internal dialogue now. Like, it's like an internal thing. Like, you've done it so long.
For sure. But yeah, go ahead and get into the plan. Go ahead.
But yes, make sure you got a plan, because that plan is the lessons that you got from the L. Apply with these new skill sets.
Yes.
Apply with the praise, and apply with everything else you have gotten from this failure. Make sure we got a plan, because if we don't have a plan, we will slip back into that failure unknowingly. It's real easy to slide right back into it because you're feeling good, you're feeling hype, you're ready to go out and fight again. But we didn't look at none of the tape from the last fight. You want to go out there and get your ass knocked out again.
Yeah.
Let's not be that fighter. Let's not be that person. Make a solid plan, write it down,
and stick to that shit.
And that's the biggest thing. We all have made plans.
Execute that shit.
But we rarely stick to the plan. I know I changed my shit. I am a master at changing the plan.
Bruh. And that's a part of procrastination, the changing.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Like, make sure it's solid and make sure it's easy to accomplish too. Don't make it too difficult to where you're going to get stressed out along the plan and want to give up. Make sure it's very simple. Make sure it's very easy. Like I said, I think it was last episode. Make it obvious too.
Yeah, make it obvious. And to go back, like, changing the plan ain't bad, because sometimes you do. You have to change it.
Oh yeah, that's part of the plan. You got to.
But make sure you at least try the first plan that you had.
Yes, at least try that. Like, at least try it first before we say it's a failure. Give it your all first.
Exactly.
You know, but yes, when you make a plan, there's gonna be things that get scribbled out, and we're gonna add this in, and like,
yes,
we tried that failed big time. Let's pivot this way. You know what I mean? But sticking with it, the plan changes, but fucking stick with it. Y'all remember grown as fuck, but look where we at now.
Exactly.
If you don't know that, then peep last episode.
Exactly. If you know, you know, you know.
And finally, when you do finally get everything, like for me, is what I usually do. Once I get everything back, skills up, I'm vibing, plan set. I ask myself this. I haven't asked myself this in a minute because now it's internal. It's like in there forever. Am I doing this as a lifer or an all-nighter?
Meaning, can you elaborate?
Meaning, am I in this shit for life, or is this just some temporary thing? And it's okay. Like, both can be okay. Like, you don't have to be this one thing forever. If you just want to do it for a little while because it feels good and like you want to really do it on a high level, that's fine too. But there are certain things also outside of that are life shit. Like I'm gonna be an artist for life.
I agree to that, and I'm gonna be an artist for life as well, a creative for life. But I feel like my outlet, my platform may change.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's a nighter thing, like all nighter. Like I might pull an all nighter working on this, but I'm not gonna do this for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
Like you start a business, that doesn't mean that's your only business you can ever do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You got to be a baker since you started a cupcake gun. You can never get houses and go into real estate because you're a baker. You're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That.
I used to think like that though. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I did too. Like I put myself in a box.
Exactly. Ooh.
Like
because it's like when you think of like when you realize that okay, I'm an artist. But this particular outlet doesn't have to be the outlet for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I've heard somebody say this, but I don't know if I'll ever retire. I'm going to create until I die.
Facts.
It brings me too much peace. It brings me too much joy to like not do.
Yeah, I don't know if I can retire. I don't like you said, I don't think I could. No matter what. No man, if I ain't got the body to do it no more, then I'm going to be the coach then.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do something. I'm going to be creating for the rest of my life. But that's what I mean. Like, are you in this shit? Are you really in this shit for the long run?
Did you just give us another sports example?
I slid it in there.
Oh, okay.
I slid it home.
You did.
Go and on. I just did it again. Slid home.
Go
Baseball.
on. Continue. Like, girls, are we tired? Are we sick of this?
Y'all gonna watch NBA on TNT one fucking day. Y'all keep listening to this podcast. I'm gonna make y'all do that one day. It's like the most relaxing thing of all time.
To watch NBA?
Yes. I don't know how y'all don't. Have y'all ever seen Kyrie play?
Well, you know, I'm a fan of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you've ever watched Kyrie play, you'll know. That's a different subject. But yes, make sure you in this shit. Well, make sure you know how long you want to be in this shit. It's that time, people.
Yes, one last pep talk. You got this. We got this.
Got this.
You a badass bitch.
You are bigger than you believe.
Yes.
What you are doing will positively affect you and everyone around you.
Okay, affirmation.
I did give an affirmation then.
Okay, period.
Yes.
I don't need to say nothing. There's nothing I need to say to follow up there.
Apply that. But yes, you are bigger than what you think you are, and this will affect you and people around you in a positive way. Keep it going, even if they don't see it. You see it for them.
Yes.
Make that change.
You got this. You're more than your failure. You're more than shit. I don't even know what to say because you bodied it. You bodied it. Like
so don't let them know.
We love you guys so much. Thank you for spending time with us today. We're sending you so much peace, so much love, so much abundance, and everything you need in this moment. We love you, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye. Mwah.
Peace.